It's winter in Minnesota. What do Minnesotans like to do this time of year? Go ice fishing. But you have to be safe about it. Ice is never 100% safe, and today we're going to show you what happens when a vehicle goes through and what it takes to get it out.
We are doing an ice recovery on a 2006 Chevy 3/4 ton pickup.
Well, we're in the Willmar Lakes area. We're not too far from town here, and as you can see behind me, there's a truck about half submerged in the water, and Seedline Towing's got all their gear out here. They're putting it all together. Now, this is a long process. It's 8 guys. It's going to take a few hours just to get the gear assembled and put it together, because you have safety to consider, and then you have a lot of factors at play here to be able to hook that truck up and get it out.
We pull up on a lake, we walk out with an auger right away. You can generally walk up from the direction the vehicle was coming from. You know the ice held it to that point. And we'll check around the back of the vehicle, and we'll check around the front of the vehicle. And it's generally, you know, you have your good ice, and then from there forward it might be bad ice for a ways, and then it builds back up again.
Most of the crew is assembling the pontoon and the winch and all the gear there. There's another guy in the water cutting the ice around it and getting ready to hook up the truck.
God, you're heavier than my kid. Yeah, hanging on?
Just so you know, this isn't how we normally do it. But today, since you're here, we'll put on a show.
Yeah. Unhook the winch.
Just unhook the winch. Leave the shackle.
Hold on. Don't grab his back. I'll help Matt on the way out. Where are you going? Go this way. Yeah.
It's the same process if it's where it's at now or if it's 30 feet deep in the water. Once the pontoon is erected, we get it over the casualty.
The soonest we can get out there is, we can do them right away, but the main thing is to have suitable ice around the casualty to be able to work off stable area. It can be done either way. If it's all the way submerged, we typically mark it and wait for that good ice to work off of. The DNR does give you 30 days. If you report it, they know where it's at. We work off of those terms with the DNR and communicate with local law enforcement to extract it usually.
Law enforcement called us roughly about 7 o'clock last night. I believe they sent rescue squad out here, but everybody was out by the time they got out. We'd like to see it as soon as possible. I mean, it doesn't hurt sitting in the water. It's already in the water. We're not going to go out and work until we're safe.
Once they've got the pontoon over the hole, it's time to hook up the vehicle. If it's too deep, they'll send a diver down to hook up. In this case, they didn't have to, and Jason was able to hook it up himself.
Wheels suck, Josh.
Yeah, I know.
I can't get my fingers in there.
When you're down there, what are you trying to hook onto?
I like to go for wheels. It's the most outward point of the vehicle, so when we're winching up, we're not pulling into fenders and doing any more damage.
So these are hooks that go like this.
Yeah.
So we're going to be pulling.
They're not a full loop you're pulling on that ear. If it goes down, it goes down. It ain't going down to the bottom.
Blame this all on my father. He should have told me to go be a doctor or a lawyer. I
You should have learned how to listen.
This winter has been very unpredictable. I mean, we've had the cold, we've had good ice making conditions, but everyone we've done, you talk to the locals on the lakes and they've never seen ice like this. Just this year alone, I believe this is our 7th or 8th one that I've been a part of. If you're in a vehicle on the lake, have your windows down. I've never seen a vehicle go from the top of the ice to the bottom of the ice fast enough that you can't get out. Generally, if they go through, the front goes down first and they'll sit
and that gives you your chance to get out, and eventually they'll slide in the rest of the way. Pay attention to the ice. Basically, the ice will talk to you when you're driving across it.
One thing to consider when you come driving out on the ice is to set yourself a track on your GPS. That way you've got a safe track back, particularly if you're coming out in the dark. But if something bad were to happen, you can mark where your vehicle goes through.
I thought I was on the shoreline. It was that peninsula there, as you saw, and well, I started getting farther. Oh, that's the other side of the lake. I knew where I was at. I looked over, I saw the landing. I went to start turning, and then ice started flying up from my tires. I was in four-wheel drive, so it was kicking up, and then I just kind of knew what was happening. It was like slow motion. I mean, I was only moving 10, 12 miles an hour, and just slowly sank in. I hit the bottom.
Then once it goes down, what do you tell them? They call you guys, call insurance, call DNR? What do you think, Sheriff's Department?
Usually they call the Sheriff's Department. Yep, the Sheriff's Department will reach out to us, the DNR. They'll get the proper authorities involved. Yep. Big thing is keep track of where you're at if you can, or where the vehicle is. You know, this one, obviously, you could walk to the access and see it. Most of them, if they go all the way under, on a day like today, that hole will freeze over. You won't even know.
All right, so I got one here.
We went off the tow hooks on the front and a hitch on the back. That's good. It's not as stable, but it works well if you can't get through wheels. Jason couldn't get through wheels with his thick gloves, but wheels are the strongest point of a vehicle, so that's what we go for normally.
So when you see a truck that's half out of the water like today, are you like, piece of cake?
I was kind of bummed. I wanted to get in. If it was 20 feet down, I would have been pretty happy.
Okay, we got that hooked. Run that one in a little bit. You want to lift back now or what?
If the front will stay put, then it'll be fine.
Okay, yeah, let's lift the back.
If we can get the bumper above the ice.
Yeah, lift the back up. Keep dead manning.
That's a matter of cutting a hole and throwing a big timber down there like that and running a couple winches.
A dead man system is what we call it. Sometimes we do 2 holes and then do a bridge across to get more, depending on the ice conditions. We're in good ice here today where we're sanding, and we were able to use a 1 8x8 post as our anchor point to extract it back out.
Dead man.
You didn't go at all.
You ain't be able to pull his trucks in the ice.
Today was a good one. There was good ice in back of us. Sometimes we don't have that. I mean, sometimes we're winching it 200, 300 yards before we can unload the truck. So.
We've had some very difficult rescues this year. We had a snow bear fall through Lake Sarah down in southwest Minnesota. And with the tracks and the situation, they were traveling across the water, across the lake at night, and ended up entering open water. And they're meant to float. In this case, they had a hole open in the bottom. And when they exited, they didn't go through the roof hatch, they went through the rear door. So the unit took on water and it wasn't buoyant anymore. We probably should have waited to do that one to have better ice to get it up onto, because we had to break through about 150 yards of bad ice to extract the casualty.
When we designed that pontoon, we are able to float 53,000 pounds with the buoyancy of the pontoon, and we can lift 40,000 pounds.
Can't pull.
The wheel should roll up over that edge.
That's great, positive.
Well, that's quite the process right there. We got to the shop at 9:30, followed the guys out here. It is 11:53 right now, and the truck is on top of the ice. So once you have everything hooked up, the process goes fairly easily, I guess, but it's a lot of work and a lot of effort and a lot of time put into how that process works to get this job done.
It's not cheap. A side-by-side is different than a pickup is on time. If we need a diver in the water, how many guys we got, how much equipment we have to bring out here. We've done some as small as $4,500. We've had them reach up to $35,000, $40,000, sometimes even $50,000, depending on how long we're out there.
This year alone, I think I have $1,500 just in upgrades, and we got to keep up on that stuff. You know, with cold water conditions, you need special regulators, and then the new ice suit.
The biggest thing is when you're planning on entering onto frozen lakes, know what you have for insurance coverages. We ran into a few cases this year where they assumed that they had coverages to recover their vehicle when it falls through, mainly on the UTVs. So if you're writing those things on an inland marine or a farm policy, in those cases there's exemptions and exclusions on what is covered because it was intended to use for a different purpose. So if you plan on taking your new side-by-side or even your used ones or whatever you're going to take out on the lake to go enjoy a day of fishing, you might want to check with your insurance agent, make sure you have the proper coverages if you end up in a situation like this guy did.
Once a vehicle is on the ice, it's up to the owner to decide what to do next. Depending on what your insurance is, the tow company might bring it to their salvage yard and then you don't have to deal with it again. If you're going to try to save the vehicle, it can become your responsibility to get it to a place to get fixed, or you can hire the towing company to bring it there for you.
We're gonna tow it out. I got a buddy at the shop about 15 minutes from here and get it warm, and I'll do the things I need to do that try to get something out of it.
While there are companies like this that can rescue your vehicle, it's up to you to be responsible on the ice. Be safe and enjoy another Minnesota winter.